I am now live. Good evening, everybody. Gonna wait. Oh, got a couple of people joining already. Hello, good evening, everybody. Just gonna wait for some more people to join the video. Thanks, everyone. I am having like serious lockdown throwback vibes here. Instagram live. Oh, do you remember back in the day? I seem to be doing this all the time. Lots of people joining. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Hello, Alan D. Hello, Sharon. Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm going to get started and fingers crossed this all goes well. I don't like the technology. I don't like it. Hi, Kelsey. She's in charge of all things Creative Head social media and is probably wishing that she was in the hot seat right now taking care of all of this. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to this Instagram Live. I'm Amanda Nottage. I'm the editorial director of Creative Head. And I've just seen, I won't say the naughty word, the industry, thank you. And today I am going to be welcoming two industry heavyweights to discuss an issue that has driven debate, particularly over the last few weeks, that hardy perennial of VAT. Now, an new independent discussion paper by Pragmatics Advisory, commissioned by the National Hair and Beauty Federation, called Avoiding the Cliff Edge, investigates possible options for the future, chiefly sliding scales of VAT thresholds that would be cost neutral to HM Treasury. Now, it illustrates examples from Finland, from the Netherlands, that show the positive impact of lower VAT rates. And joining us today from the NHBF will be its new chief executive, Caroline Larisi. So I'm hoping in a moment she's going to request to join the live. Now, as you'll all know, the current threshold when businesses start paying 20% VAT is currently set at £85,000. Now, salon owner and co-founder of the Salon Employers Association, Toby Dicker, has been fervent in his argument that this is having a hugely negative impact on hairdressing and barbering, creating a distinct lack of a level playing field for salon employers. Now, Toby has been doggedly campaigning for a meaningful cut to VAT for the last couple of years, and you must have been living under a rock to have missed his most recent media blitz. From GB News to Times Radio, BBC Breakfast to ITV News, he has been pushing for a cut to 10% VAT as a matter of urgency, and he will hopefully be with us soon. So here's the bit I dread, when I'm actually going to get people to join me today. Now, let's have a little look. Can I find... going to be joining us yourself rather than the NHBF. Hopefully, both of you now have got an invitation to join me. Please. Toby!
Yay!
Bins on. Excellent. Fabulous. So we're one down. Let me just...
I can't see a thing if I haven't got my bins on.
Yay. Excellent. Now, just waiting for Caroline to join us. Let me just check if any... Caroline, are you there, my dear?
You're nearly at 100. Look. Oh, look, someone's dropped out.
No, lovely.
You know, ask me a question while you're waiting, and I'll answer it.
Do you know what? Should we start that way round then? Because I was going to start with Caroline, but hey, you're here first.
We've got to hear each other's bits, so we should wait. But you know, yeah, I am passionate about this. I'm very, very passionate about the industry. I'm passionate about hairdressers. I think they're amazing people. And I've been cross for a very, very long time that our industry is treated with disrespect.
Yeah.
That we're always patted on the head. Even the recent media coverage, I found quite frustrating. It's my goal now to get us taken seriously, really pushing hard for some serious business press, you know, the print media, and to get us taken seriously, because we were someone's just requested to join as NHBF.
Yeah.
Sam TMA.
And I'm trying desperately, but when I go to my requests, I've got a Jenny Wood trying to join.
Oh, well, there you go. We got Caroline Laracy. She said, "Can you add me?" She's just joined.
Right, hang around. Right, here we go. Now I've got NHBF Social.
Okie dokes. Or Caroline Laracy, one of the two.
Oh my God, I hate this bit, Toby. I hate it.
Yeah, I've never done it.
There we go. And she's also got her glasses on.
I know.
We've got the memo.
We're twinning.
We're tripleting.
Oh, let me just turn my other phone off. There you go.
Oh, thank you, Caroline, for joining us, because I know you've had a cracker's day today.
Well, it's apprenticeship week, isn't it? So it's going to be. We've
Everyone
got to
head over to @Creative Head Mag as well for National Apprenticeship Week. There's loads of content there. Just get a little plug in. So Toby has started us off today explaining why he's so passionate and his frustrations currently. So I'll let you crack on, Toby.
Well, I think it's Caroline's start to talk about her paper and where things are. But from my point of view, as I said, I'm very, very passionate. I think hairdressers are amazing. I think they're treated with an enormous amount of disrespect, and that's what drives me, realistically. You know, not just a level playing field for salons across the board, but for the high street. You know, salon pay more tax than every other business model, and that's what I want to highlight. We'll talk about a bit more about that later.
Absolutely, because there are some stats that I know you've shared with me before that are just, dear God, jaw-dropping. So Caroline, I'm going to come to you.
No worries.
What are you hearing from your members right now regarding VAT and its impact on their businesses? Why the need to commission this new paper that I mentioned earlier?
No worries. Well, the simple thing is, I think, you know, everybody has an opinion on VAT. You know, VAT issue alongside, you know, the rise in self-employment, it seems to be the absolute hot topic of conversation across the sector, and rightly so. You know what I mean? Everybody has an opinion, which hopefully is formed from their own perspective. You know, some voices are loud, some voices are tainted, some voices are varied, but, you know, it does reflect on, you know, various different things. But what I can say is all businesses sometimes don't have the same opinion as part of that. And from us at the National Hair and Beauty Federation, we have a wide range of members. So we have our members that are very small businesses, and we have members that are very large businesses. We have hairdressing businesses, we have barbering businesses, we have beauty, and we have aesthetic businesses. So, you know, we're across the board. I will say, you know, at the NHBF, we're always continually fighting the corner on behalf of our members. You know, this VAT issue and all this sort of thing. 15 years, you know, we put an infographic out, you know, 15 years we've been doing various different things. And what we're trying to do is really provide a lot of evidence to, you know, government, you know, moving forward. And, you know, there's some clear concerns that are coming through as part of that. But what we wanted to do was really to focus on asking our members exactly what they wanted. And you'll see throughout, you know, some of the stuff that we've done before, we've always asked our member and always had, you know, a good response from our members. And our members have always come back to us. And first priority is, you know, cut the VAT. We want the VAT cut as part of that. And you recall in 2021, we had a massive campaign at post-COVID, you know, I mean, regarding that. So, you know, there's loads of various different things. We do talk to, you know, the Treasury, you know, we do talk to various different departments. And what we're trying to do is to, you know, to actually get the, you know, the key facts. And the key facts are, we aren't a cookie cutter sector. You know, one set doesn't fit all. So, you know, we do have, you know, salons that pay VAT, but we also have salons that don't and keep themselves under a threshold. Sometimes it's choice, sometimes it's necessity, you know, as part of that. And so what we're actually doing is getting quite a big mixed bag of messages going out. And so what you rightly said is we had a independent report pulled together, and that was from Pragmatics Advisory. And it wasn't to say the NHBF say this or the NHBF said this. It was to just spark the conversation, because as Toby said, we're an absolutely fantastic, vibrant industry. And, we do get, the back end of the deal on some of these things. We get a lot of bad press. And what we need to do is to sort of highlight that we're an absolutely fantastic industry. We really provide a service that is valued by our clients. I always call us the fourth emergency service because, I've been a practicing hairdresser. There's many times I've bought my clients a glass of wine and spent many, many hours behind the back of the chair talking to them as part of that. And I think our clients, do value us. And I do think that we had the momentum post-COVID where we were valued when, salon businesses, got back up again. But unfortunately, it seems to be come down. And I think what we need to do is obviously, raise the profile and get the debate going.
Well, you've started that beautifully, and I'll come back to you to talk about some more detail that's in that paper and some of those potential solutions. But coming over to you, Toby, talking about raising the profile, you've been doing that with bells on over the last couple of weeks. Now, the Salon Employers Association's whole foundation was built on pushing for a change to VAT. Can you capture for us the impact as you see it of the current rate is having on your members and on the wider industry as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I actually worked together with 4 other organisations in the personal care sector group, and they are the Hair and Barber Council, the Fellowship, Freelance Hairdressers Association, and MHFed, and together we work together on a plan. And at the end of the day, we're trying to do what is best for the industry with all those memberships. So we've got a wide spectrum. It's not just our membership. All of our surveys go out to everybody. And at the end of the day, we just feel that I've got a little statement I was going to go through. So we feel it's an absolute emergency to reduce VAT to 10%. We think there are a million different things that could be looked at in tax, but we don't have the time. This is an emergency. If we don't do it, up to 50% of our sector will close its doors. And that's what really, really concerns us. In the last 5 years alone, we've seen employment shrink by 34,000. That's 28% of people. Many switch to self-employed or disappear. And a total of 45,000, nearly 46,000 workers from ONS data. And that's quite a scary thing, a massively shrinking industry. The real challenge is we add all our value through labour. So we add all our value through labour, 60% of our cost through labour, a third of that is tax, so 20% there, and then we've got 20% in VAT. And it's very quick to see why tax is so punitive in our industry. We estimate that 35p out of every pound that comes in the door, goes out in tax. So for every £1.20, you get your 40 pence in those 2 taxes alone. The other things that have happened is that anything that touches labour costs in our industry hits salons 6 times harder. We add value through labour. We employ 6 times more than the average retail, and taxes across the board have continued to go up. So VAT has increased by 33% since 2010. Employers' national insurance, which is the tax you pay just for the privilege of employing somebody, has gone up by 38% in the same period. And you can't expect an industry that's been hit so punitively by taxes just to keep absorbing it, keep putting prices up. The industry will break, and that is where we are right now. So we need to all come together to ask for a 10% cut, because we haven't got time to do anything else. And that's really the summary of it. We're hammered for taxes across the board in the industry. I want everyone, from freelancers across the board, to come together to have a conversation, because otherwise there's going to be laws that come in that make everyone pay 20% VAT, and there's a real risk of that, which we can go through in a minute. So that's where my passion comes from. I think we've all got to get behind it right now. We've got 4 weeks, otherwise I just can see a decimation of the industry. I've got quotes from hundreds and hundreds of people who've written to the government saying things like, I'm working really hard to keep my business afloat. I had a stroke in January, but luckily made a good recovery and went back to work. I mean, that's insanity. You know, there are quotes after quotes after quotes, and we just need to aim for this one thing right now.
Thank you for that, Toby, and thank you, Caroline, for both setting the scene there, where we can see these problems, we can see the impact it's having. So, solutions. Toby, I'm going to come back to you about that 10% in just a moment. But Caroline, the paper that you mentioned and I discussed a little earlier, it's a very detailed dive into those alternative scenarios surrounding VAT, chiefly this idea of sliding scales of VAT thresholds. Can you talk us through, as best you can in the time that we've got, succinctly, what that actually looks like, both for hairdressing businesses and also for government? Because frankly, government's not going to be interested in any options that's going to see a reduction in VAT receipts overall.
Yeah. So the as I said before, we've been talking to government for the last 15 years on this. We spoke to Treasury, I think it was, and they said, oh, we're not looking at the VAT until 2026. Which gets really, really quite frustrating. And you have to bear in mind that we're looking not just hairdressing, we're looking at all the various different sectors across the
Yes,
board.
of course. Sorry. Yep.
Because that's where our members are. And what the biggest thing is, our members said cutting VAT, but then obviously we've been speaking to other organisations because we're very aware that as a sector we can't do this on our own. So we've been looking and speaking to the Chamber of Commerce, we've been speaking to Small Business Federation, because there's other businesses that are exactly the same position as us, are looking for different solutions and wanting, because they're struggling, just like, hairdressers are, beauty therapists are, with all the various different tax implications. So we've been looking a little bit wider. And what we were asked as part of that was to look at other solutions. So one of the first things we did is, we looked at other countries. How do other countries' tax regimes work? Is there something that we can actually look at as part of that? And one of the things that came up was obviously your businesses are holding themselves at this threshold, and they're trying to keep their businesses under the threshold because they can avoid, paying tax if they do that. But it's obviously having quite devastating effects. But it's not just our sector, it's across the board. There's other industries that's exactly the same that are, happening as part of this. And we sort of looked at, what is there other ways that we can actually do to, look at this moving forward? Is there another way, another solution, that we can suggest to government? Because we've been hammering about cutting the VAT, trying to do these various different solutions. And what we found with all our experience, going through COVID and all that sort of things, government will only listen to facts. So if I say I want a 10% on VAT, they'll be saying, why? Give me a case study. Why is it 10%, not 5%? They need the facts, they need the rigor behind that. And that's, great, because that's what we have to do. And so one of the things is we commissioned a report by an independent organisation, because we wanted to look at a various different other way of maybe approaching this. And so what they looked at is a smoothing mechanism. And so that there could be a smoothing mechanism that's, below the threshold, so it would go in increments, or there would be a smoothing method above the threshold as part of that, which makes it a fairer playing field. Because what's coming back from our members is, I've got a salon down the road and I pay VAT, and I have to pay charge these prices because I've got all these overheads, where I've got another salon down the road that's charging and undercutting me, and that's because they're keeping themselves under the threshold and not paying VAT. And so what we found is we commissioned this paper to look at various different scenarios as part of that, as a discussion paper, to say, let's open, the debate. Let's really look at this, moving forward. Is this a solution, that can be adopted? Or is there actually some solutions from other countries that we can really look at, being able to support the sector? And as I said before, we're not a cookie cutter sector. So, what will work for a small business will not work for a big business. So no matter, when you look at the various different scenarios, there's peaks and troughs,
Right.
for each businesses. So, that's the reason why we did the paper, was, to look at everything from all perspectives, because you can't make an informed decision on everything until you've got the full picture.
Thank you for that, Caroline. Toby, I saw you shaking your head. We will get that. We will get to that in just a moment. But what I want to ask you first, you mentioned Salon Employers Association, part of the personal care sector cross-industry organisational group, membership spanning 50,000 salon pros. And as you've mentioned, you're calling on government to reduce VAT to 10% as a matter of urgency, alongside hospitality and other service-based business models. I'd love to know, first up, why 10%, where that comes from, the urgency.
Very good,
You
very good
mentioned,
question. Just to say, yeah, sorry, no, another question. Sorry, Amanda, I jumped in. My mistake.
I'm going to give you a chance to each speak about the other's positions in just a moment, I promise.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no
just so
problem.
you can explain where you're coming from, Toby. First up,
Okay.
why
I'll
10%?
tell you that.
Why
Yeah,
10%?
yeah.
And why the urgency? You were talking about 4 weeks. Why that urgency? And
Okay.
also, I know you've mentioned before a split rate of VAT could be a potential solution for the future, and you've pointed to Ireland as an example. So I'd just love to hear it from your side now, Toby.
Okay, so there were three questions. Why 10%? Why now? Why 4 weeks? If we don't get this in the next 4 weeks, when the spring budget comes out, then we won't get anything in this government, and then we'll spend 2 years trying to teach the next government what this problem is. Why 10%? Because I message HMRC and Treasury and DBT on a weekly basis to try and annoy them. That's my job, because I'm so frustrated by this. And on the 2nd of January, I met with them and other members of PCCO to discuss exactly this. And what they said is hospitality are going to go for 10%. Probably already seen that already. And basically, there's absolutely no chance of thresholds being changed, none whatsoever. And therefore, you base a campaign on the information you're given. And that's what we did. It's an emergency because 50% of salons are considering closing, because 60% of people are either having a difficult time or sleepless nights, or they're suffering.
Sorry, Toby, just to jump in, these stats that you're mentioning, is this from your own survey that you did recently?
Yeah, from the whole group. There were 600 odd responses from the whole group. And because only 4% of people saying they're going to carry on as they are with apprenticeships, 57% saying they're not going to take any, and 40% overall saying they're either going to get rid of all of their apprentices or reduce the numbers because it's unaffordable. And all government have done with the spring statement is add more cost to what we already know. They've canned T-levels because T-levels are no longer fit for purpose. The only viable option into this industry is through MBQs, and if you charge VAT, that's the only way you can afford, sorry, not MBQs, apprenticeships, I'm misquoting. The only way into the industry is through apprenticeships, and the only way to afford an apprentice is if you're VAT registered. So that's why it's an emergency. That's why we've got to do it now, and that's why we've got to keep trying. I know we've tried in the past. We got ignored. We got separated from the hospitality industry at the last minute, and then forgotten, as far as I'm concerned, and that makes me pretty pissed off. And that's why I'm keep going.
Absolutely.
So of course I'm going to campaign, however small the chances. I'm going to make as much noise as possible because I know it will make a difference to those people. Those people who are saying to me, I just don't know what to do. I work for less than minimum wage. I work for less than someone on benefits. I don't know what to do. I think I'm doing the right thing. You know, that's why. That's where it comes from. So that's why it's got to be 10%. That's why it's got to be now. We don't have time to debate all of these other ideas right now. We can do that later. But right now, we need to cut to 10%. And I'd ask Caroline to say, do you support an emergency cut to 10%?
I support the fact that we need a reduction in tax. That's what our members are saying. What I can't do is go to government and say 10% because Toby said so. I could say to government 10% because I've got the facts there, and I've got a case study that says that if we get a 10% reduction in tax, this is how it would support businesses. Then I could tangibly go to government.
Caroline, you sat in meetings with 5 organisations separately and promised each of them that you would support a 10% cut to VAT, and then you changed it as soon as this report comes out. And calling it an independent report when your ex-chief executive now works for the company Pragmatics is a bit of a joke. I'm sorry, I'm so cross. You promised us you would support a 10% cut.
No, and it was a definitely, you know, independent report. And I very much said in all those meetings that my members, when I've asked the question, and that's what I always do, is go back to my members and ask the question. And I said, what is the toppest of your list? And they said a cut in VAT. And I said, that's great, because I can go back and say to government, our members have spoken and they're wanting a cut in VAT.
Okay, so tell me why we didn't get a cut in VAT last time when you were lobbying for it. What happened? Why was that?
Because that's how, you know, government works. You know, I mean, you can lobby on all various different things and they'll listen to you, and you've got to go back with the facts and figures, and
And
that's
what
where we are. And what we've done this time is we've looked at a wider perspective, and that's why we've gone and engaged the
we
chambers of
haven't
commerce, the
we
buyer.
don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. What were the facts and figures you went to them with then? Because as far as I was concerned, what came back last time when we were told we didn't get a VAT cut is that it wouldn't help enough people. Is that what you came back with?
We went back with all our state of the industry surveys, and as you know, we've been doing those for 2.5 years, which is a really valid way of feeding into government on
But you
exactly
don't.
how the sector is, you know,
But
working.
you don't ask anyone if they're VAT registered in your
We
surveys.
don't ask anybody who's VAT registered, and we don't ask them as members if they're VAT registered at all. We are
So
there to support, you know,
your
legal,
members.
safe and profitable businesses. It is not my position to tell my members how they run their business.
I'm not saying
Okay,
it. I'm
guys,
not.
I'm going to step in
I'm not
here
saying
for a
it is.
Yeah.
minute. It's getting a little testy. Now, obviously, ultimately, you're both looking for a fairer rate of VAT.
Yeah.
There is this sense of urgency. So right now, on the back of all of the work that you're doing, Toby fervently fighting for this across every media platform that he can get on, Caroline putting forward this very detailed, very considered, independent paper. What I need
But
to know are, what are the right people listening to you right now in government? Who are you talking to? What are they saying? Who
We've
wants to
got a
dive in
letter
there first?
for our members that, you know, they can write to the local MPs. They can, you know, say about all the various different things as part of that. We've put templates there. We have a dedicated, you know, director of policy and public affairs that is in there, you know, supporting. We ask our members the question, you know, when we did the VAT, you know, survey, and we did, you know, all the new document that we had published, the first thing we did is we actually released it to our members, because we wanted to ask our members the questions. Do you know what I mean? For actually what their point is, so that we can accurately feed back to government from the horse's mouth.
So no, I totally get that. So who is it in government that you have the ear of at the moment? Who are you speaking to? And then I'll ask Toby the same question. And what are you hearing back?
So we're talking to the Department of Business. You know, I mean, we talk to across the board. You know, Minister Holligrake. You know, there's quite a lot of different departments. That I think what the problem is we've got in our sector is we're very a diverse sector, and what fundamentally is one of the things is our SOC codes are wrong. So when you actually look at how our actually, you know, sector is made up, and, you know, where, you know, the actual size and shape is, it actually makes it very, very difficult for government to look at it verbatim. So actually, when you pull reports back, you don't actually get a true accurate picture of the sector. And I think that doesn't help at all as when we're feeding back.
Toby, I'm
so
going to throw that question to you as well. Who has your ear at the moment in government? Who are you talking to as
you're
a
not
whole group?
you're not supposed to say exactly who you're talking
Okay,
to, but I can tell you I've met with
departments.
several MPs. There's one particular MP who's championing our cause, and I will mention her because she's on the record. Pauline Latham,
Yeah.
MP. She brought this up in Parliament for us in May of last year, and consistently pushes for meetings with different ministers for us. So we've met with the Apprenticeship Minister, Department for Business, HMRC, DBT, and so on, and been in some meetings with Caroline. I just want to take it back just one step. I think for last time that, and another thing, Caroline, you consistently say you're representing your members, which is interesting because you've always put yourselves out there as representing the industry before. We've asked you to join our group on several occasions, even up until the week before.
And Toby,
And
please don't
hold
go
on.
there, because we need their part of the group, and you know the reasons why the NHBF stepped away from the group. So please don't go on that
Okay,
tangent.
I won't. But that's not a
you
factor.
and you. Yeah, that's not for this domain.
Okay, but I believe you're talking about your membership, and your membership representation when it comes to VAT paying members is very small. Do you want to talk about that?
We don't ask our members if they're VAT registered or not. Our
Right.
role is to, you know, support safe, legal and profitable businesses. Their business model is entirely their business model, because, you know,
Okay.
they are their own entrepreneurs. And
Okay,
we
I think
wouldn't
the
dream of
industry needs a
asking the question.
bit more guidance than that, and that's the thing. I want everyone to understand all the
But,
rules. As far as I'm
but
aware,
where
the
you're
reason
talking from, all your members are VAT registered. And that's
ours
what we
are,
think.
but the FHA's aren't, and some others people's aren't. You know, we're talking about the whole cross section here. As far as I was concerned, the last time we didn't get the VAT cut, there's a reason why we didn't get it, and that was because government were told by different organisations that more people would be represented by non-VAT paying salons. And I want to put some records straight. ONS government data states that 70 to 80% of the businesses in the UK aren't VAT registered. However, 45% are self-employed. That's right, 45% of the people are in employment, 122,000 people at 2018 when this was represented. And 60% of the turnover of the industry is VAT registered. So as far as I'm concerned, VAT registered salons are the majority, and I don't understand why it wasn't pushed harder for. That frustrates me, and that's where I am with it. And I think all of those organisations could say we thought we were going to come together for this, because this is our last chance. There are people's livelihoods on the line, people's business.
But Toby, the thing is, it's not that we're not getting together, because we're actually all in agreement that, you know, I mean, there needs to be change in VAT.
Yeah, okay, but your paper suggests 15 different measures. Why can't we just come together on
No,
one for the next 4 weeks?
what
For
we
the next
did
4
is we
weeks, we need
have
to come
helped
together.
facilitate this argument. The idea was to
We haven't got
raise
time to have the
awareness.
argument. You
We've
haven't got
raised
time.
awareness. You
Okay,
know, the thing is, if we all worked together and actually, you know, did the platform, then it would be so much easier, wouldn't it? Do
I
you know what I
think
mean? And that's
I
what
think
we've
it
tried
would.
to do. We've tried to, you know,
Well, you said you weren't
provide
going to bring
some.
that up, so let's not.
Okay, right. Let's bring this back. We are probably going to be, as you say, Toby, 4 weeks. Then we've got our spring budget statement. After that, we're looking at a general election this year. So,
Yeah.
what are our chances beyond the budget of any kind of meaningful action, anything at all happening if there is not change during the budget? Who wants to dive in there?
The thing is, and what we will continue to do is we will continue to, you know, put the, you know, the rationale in front of the government of, you know, why this is in. And we, you know, we've done that for the last 15 years, you know, and we'll continue to do that on behalf of our members as part of that. And Toby's right. You have to go and go and go with them. You know, it's a chip process. Yep. None of this, you know, happens overnight. Do you know what I mean? And with everything that we've actually ever done on the lobbying. I mean, Toby, you know, mentioned the T levels. I can't tell you how many meetings I've had with the minister on the T levels to, you know, to get them to understand that actually hairdressing
Wow.
poles apart from beauty, that's poles apart from, you know, I mean, barbering, but they mashed it all together in a T level. And so we had to explain to the minister.
Why did you tell us in a group meeting that T levels were decided and that they couldn't be changed and they were going ahead and they were a good thing for the industry there? Because you said that in front of our group.
But Toby, you forget that I am hairdressing and beauty. I'm not just hairdressing.
Okay,
So
can we
I'm
get
talking
this?
about
Let's
something.
pull this back, please, to VAT.
Okay, I'll ask some questions about tax overall.
Well, I'd love to ask.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? I don't know, to be honest with you, because I'm exhausted with it. I've been trying to do this for 3-4 years,
Yeah.
and I honestly think we didn't get it because because the arguments weren't put forward well enough, and they need to be now. We could keep working with the DBT, we keep working with those people, but for a little while after this, I'm going to have a rest. I want to go back to the talking about your members. So in 2012, you helped get involved with the Treasury. So there's a couple of things in your accounts. It says the Treasury decision in the budget of March 2012 that it would close what is termed a tax loophole around the treatment of VAT and share renting led to the Federation working very closely at a high level with Treasury officials. Significantly, it helped clarify proposals put forward within the government's document to VAT addressing borderline anomalies that could unduly penalise some salons. It was also active in supporting and advising its affected members. That was in your accounts commentary. And then it says, in a submission to the Low Pay Commission, the government quango that oversees the minimum wage, the National Hairdressers Federation, so you are the government quango, not representing your members, said that in the past year alone, 10,000 hairdressers have been recategorised by their employers as self-employed under the law. Those who are self-employed do not have to pay the minimum wage. You can't recategorise people in a thing and make them employed. Your president at the time, Mark Corey, and someone who is on your board then said, one hairdresser, Mark Corey, manager of Corey & Co, said that he had made a number of staff self-employed to avoid paying holiday and sick pay and PAYE tax. His quote is, "It is almost like a legal way of avoiding the high overheads that come with the minimum wage." Panorama, October 2011.
Right. What's the point you're making there? What are you asking
I'm just
Caroline
about
to
to
ask
say, what
to
do you
answer
want me
that?
to tell you about something that I wasn't even part of the organisation about, and you're bringing up old history?
Because one of your board members has encouraged a move to what I believe to be against the law, against regulations, and it's something that you've got down on record, that you were going to sort out these problems that people consistently talk about around problems on the high street with different business models, and yet one of your board directors and previous president is there saying it's almost like I can avoid paying holiday, sick and tax. So to avoid paying VAT, avoid paying tax.
2016?
2011 and 2012.
2011. Oh, okay. So that's quite a few years ago, isn't
But
it?
you're talking about doing things
That's
for the last 15
a low
years.
blow, isn't it? Quoting something from all that period of time ago.
And also, Toby, to be fair, that wasn't
No,
Caroline. That wasn't even
I'm not saying
her being
it's Caroline,
authority
it's
there.
the NHBF and the membership. I'm not saying it's
Okay,
Caroline.
so
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
I
the thing
think
is that
we're
I
getting,
think that's a bit of a low blow. I've got to say that's
yeah.
I don't think that's actually
I think
on.
let's try and get this back on track. We've only got about 5 minutes left. Let's try and end on something that's more positive, and that's action. What are you each telling your members, anyone watching today, what do you want our audience to do next? Got 4 weeks, Toby. You are calling this next 4 weeks absolutely crucial. What can they do next?
well, from the start, from the very, very beginning, we've just said, write to your MPs, demand a reduction in VAT alongside hospitality are also doing the same thing. Tweet your MPs, record videos and tweet them, because all of them have Twitter, tag them in on Instagram, do anything you can to raise our voice, because right now, as we said, this is an emergency, and I really, really hoped to have been working on this exactly together, because this is what needs to happen right now.
And are there resources available through the SCA? Templates for writing to MPs? What have you got that can help practically?
The only thing we have is our Instagram page. The only thing I have the time for, because we invest so much time in it, is the Instagram page. You can go on the Instagram page. You can go into the link in bio, and you can see the templates there. And whenever we post, you can tag your MPs in there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Toby, for that. Caroline, what resources do you have placed? What are you asking our audience to do next?
Okay, so we've got a huge campaigning page on our website that's, got all the key points. We've got templates and letters that you can write to your local MP, and we've got loads of resources and guidance apart from that. And we've also obviously got all the history of all the stuff that we've done as well, that they can utilise. So very much it's all hosted on our, website. We've made it open and transparent so anybody can use and download the materials and the templates as part of that. And again, all the campaigning information again is on our website. Just go on to the NHBF and you'll see the campaigning page with all the information down there of what we're actually doing and the next steps. And obviously, like we always do on our website, we all have to have our member news and the wider news. We have our social media and everything. So everything we do is always on there and always open and transparent.
Thank you both, and thank you to everybody who has watched. The comments have been absolutely wild this evening. I've been struggling to catch up with all of them, but I really appreciate it's such a passionate subject. I hope everyone's gotten something out of it this evening. Toby, will we be seeing you on any TV shows, radio stations? Where are we going to hear from you next?
I hope so. I believe. Well, we've got a campaign to go out to the serious business press because we want to raise this with government, and we have some more TV coming beginning of I think it's the 19th or 20th. There's a lot of ITV regions covering these things, yeah, I hope that we will.
Brilliant. And Caroline, what are you up to next? I know you've got National Apprenticeship Week this week, but in terms of VAT, what's on the agenda for you?
Still completing, we've got the debate, we've got all the raising the profile of the sector as part of that. As I said, we've got all the tools and resources on our website, and we're going to still feed everything through as part of that. We've got MP letters all there. Again, as you said, it's apprenticeship this week. We're trying to focus on the positive, how fantastic our sector is, how, we're wanting people to go into the sector, and, really have a fantastic, career in there. So there's oodles of information out there.
Just seeing the comments. Clive from Hob is going to be on ITV Anglia on the 19th. I think that's said at 7 p.m. So we'll look out for you there, Clive.
There's a lot of people getting very confused by the numbers. ONS data states the turnover levels. It states the number of people employed. It states a lot of things, and we can give you a lot more data around that if necessary. But everyone's saying that the VAT paying salons contribute more than half the turnover of the industry, and anyone can message us direct, and I'll give them the horse's mouth data if that's what they want.
You heard that, guys. Any questions, anything you want? I'm sure both Caroline and Toby will be only too happy to hear from you. Thank you both for your time this evening. I know you got quite passionate, but that's what we need right now, and I really appreciate the time taken, the facts that you've shared, and for everybody watching and for all of your comments, much appreciated. Now this will be back on our feed later on once it's all saved, so if you want to share it with anybody, any colleagues, do feel free. And while I've got you all here, I've got to say, hey, come on, why don't you subscribe to Creative Head magazine? It's completely free right now, so head over to creativeheadmag.com, sign up and get a free copy of the magazine. And also we've got Salon Smart, our business networking event on the 18th of March for salon owners and employers and managers. Come along to that and you'll hear loads on topics, including the future of our business and what's best for cracking our way forward. I cannot say thank you enough to you guys for joining us. Have a very good evening. Good luck with all your endeavours, and let's see what the next 4 weeks hold. But guys, get right into your MPs, download those templates, get active, and let's see what change can potentially be made. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.